Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of Geeks Watch. About a year ago, I did the review for Vox Machina Season 1. So given that Season 3 is coming out, I figured it's about time I watch Season 2. That seems to be par for my course here. And I don't play golf. So, Season 2 takes place pretty much immediately after Season 1 ends. That makes perfect sense. In Season 1, they had just beaten a blue dragon, saved the city, yada, yada, yada. Season 2 starts off with dragons from the four other races of dragons, red, black, white, and green, show up and decimate the city, killing tons of people, declaring themselves the overlords of the city, and that everyone will do what they say or die and be eaten. And they basically see to, do that. Lots of death and destruction. Great way to start off episode 1. And the story kind of progresses from there. They have to try and figure out how to save people, how to possibly stop the dragons. And they pretty much go on a quest to try and find help in one way, shape, or another. A lot of my criticisms from Season 1 continue to Season 2. Although I've had more time to analyze it and figure out maybe why I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. My criticisms about the animation still stand. That doesn't mean the animation sucks. Just that I've become more critical of it. And I think I mentioned that in Season 1. I think I've figured out why this show doesn't land as well for me as I had hoped and thought it would. Some of the other animated shows that I watched, they had a bit more depth to them, I think. Vox Machina feels like an R-rated Saturday morning cartoon, which in and of itself isn't a bad thing, but I think it explains why I'm not as fond of it as I could be. I'm looking for things, I think, with a bit more heft to them, writing-wise and acting-wise. I don't think it's necessarily the fault of the makers of the show. I think that's what... I'm not sure what they wanted. I don't know them. But I know this is done by the people who do Critical Role, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically a group of voice actors who play Dungeons and Dragons and film themselves doing it and then put it up on YouTube. My daughter and son-in-law love their show. They watch it constantly. I tried. I watched a bit of Season 1, and I did enjoy it, but not enough to keep doing it. It's, watching people play D&D doesn't hold a lot of appeal for me. They do it very well. But I think translating it into an animated show, which I was really, really looking forward to, just didn't land for me. I've compared it to Incredible, I think, which again, my son-in-law did not like. He thinks the show is better. I disagree because I think the writing and animation has a bit more emotional impact, at least for me. Comparing it to something like Incredibles, where, when Nolan gets angry, it's very subtle. There's a lot of subtlety in the voice acting and in the animation. The quality animation is pretty much the same. They're still using 12 frames, standard 12 frames a second for short-term non-theatrical animation. So the animation in both series is still a bit choppy, but they're managing to convey a bit more with their animation, I think, in something like The Incredibles than in something like Vox Machina, where it doesn't hit as hard. Like, as an example, there's a scene where the twins, Vox and Vax, meet their father, who they ran away from because he's a huge dick. And you do see that, but it's only a couple scenes, and they really hammer you over the head with it. There's no subtlety to it at all. And not that it needs to be like huge subtext, but there's ways to do this that I think could have been, had a bit more of an emotional depth to them. And I think that's something that the show kind of lacks for me. I hate being critical of the show because I love D&D and I love animation, and I think these guys are working hard. Um, it's just that, like I said, it feels like the quality of a Saturday morning cartoon, just with, you know, more blood and gore and dick jokes, which again, in and of itself, isn't a bad thing. But I want something a bit meatier on my plate. That doesn't mean the season sucks. I do think it's better than season one. There's a lot to be said for season two. In season one, the main character arcs every character gets their little moments. But in season one, the main character arcs were basically Percy and Pike. Those are the two characters that get the most screen time for their character development. In season two, it is I think it's Vox. I get the twins mixed up. It's the guy. It's the guy twin. So we spend a bit of time with him and Grog. So Vox and Grog definitely get the most, I think, emotional character depth. Scanlan also gets some. He gets his moment to shine too, but I think his is more like the third plot. Like Grog is the A plot, Vox is the B plot, Scanlan would be like the C plot. So he's there too. And the other characters get their moments as well, like I said. But I think the primary focus is on those two characters. And I think it's decently done. I think they do a good job. I think those are some of the strongest elements of the show. I mean, even in season one, the strongest elements of the show were Percy's journey and Pike's journey. The other characters were much less interesting, but they were also much less focused on. Again, season two, Grog and Vox's, their personal journeys were interesting. And again, that is, I think, is where this show really has its strong points. It's the more casual downtime moments, I think, that fail for me, that don't seem to hit as hard. There are some heavy moments too that don't really land as well, in my opinion. But the show really has some good writing at times. The thing for me which really made this season worth watching was the dragons. They really, really did an excellent job with the dragons. You primarily see the red and black dragons. The other, the green and white, less so. You do see them, when they make their big entrance in the opening, you see a fair amount of all of them, but then the other two, you see a bit less of. I think you see most of the, as the season progresses, you see more of the black dragon. He's more the not main antagonist, but he's the dragon they wind up fighting against the most. There are a couple of reasons why I think the dragons are such a huge part, and why I really like them so much. In season one, they fought a blue dragon. A blue dragon, dragons are powerful enemies. They're supposed to be hard to fight and kill. But in the big climactic battle in season two, when they fought the blue dragon, whose name I can't remember now, it was definitely a very strong fight. Definitely one where the blue dragon could kill them. He definitely was stronger than all of them combined. But the fight itself felt like something they could win if they really pulled a plan together, really did their thing well, and got a little bit of luck. They could pull it off. You really solidly felt like they could pull this off and kill the dragon, and they did. It was a good fight, decently choreographed, decently animated, good solid payoff. You did not feel that this season. No. The dragons they fought this time, they were overmatched. There was no way you felt they were, for the most part, there was no way you felt they had a chance of winning as a team. There was one fight where they had another party help them. You thought that might go better. But these guys were clearly, this felt like a dragon fight. These guys were hopelessly outmatched. It wasn't how they were going to kill a dragon, it's how the hell were they going to live through this kind of moments. Anytime there was a dragon on the screen, it was just death for everything. And even though they were main characters and you probably knew they weren't going to die, which is a criticism I have, because there were certain times that these characters should have died. Plot armor's too thick on these characters. That's a writing problem. You got to have a better way to have these characters face certain death and live through it without having it just be, oh, we just don't want them to die now, so we're not going to kill them off. No, there's got to be a better way to, you guys should write better without making it obvious plot armor. So another criticism, but the dragons were just so amazing in their depictions. Being a D&D fan and having played role-playing games in my life, some of the best sessions we've had as a gaming group were ones where we had just no idea how the hell we were going to live. Times where we felt, oh crap, this is going to be a total party wipe. We are all going to die. How the hell are we going to do this? And managing to just barely scrape by the skin of our teeth. I realize if you don't play D&D or role-playing games like that, it's not going to hit for you, but, it's no different than anything else where you don't know how you're going to win. You could be watching a sporting event where your team is down 10 points and all of a sudden they win. It's the underdog moment where you can't figure out how you're going to win, and you finally do, and it's exciting. And man, these guys are put through the ringer this season. They really, really are. And that is a testament to good writing. They really did a great job writing the dragons, voice acting the dragons. For the most part, I found that the red dragon kind of annoyed me a little bit. At points, not 100% of the time. There were a couple times where it's like, okay, he's an evil bad guy, we get it, kind of moments. But by and large, yeah, the dragons were amazing and really sold the season for me. There was a third season, so they obviously, well, I can't say obviously that they didn't win everything. But season 3 will pick up where season 2 left off. Spoiler, they did not kill all the dragons and win. So season 2 did end kind of a bit of a cliffhanger. Good cliffhanger. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the final. I enjoyed the finale. The finale was good. Before I watched the finale, I was not sure if I was going to watch season 3. I was just kind of ho-hum. It took me, there were 12 episodes, and it probably took me 3 weeks to watch them because I just wasn't as interested. It's like, blah, 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 I'm not going to watch it. The season 2, then the season finale happened. It's like, okay, I want to find out what happens next. So if you've watched season 1 of Vox Machina and liked it, you've probably already watched season 2, given that season 3 is coming out, and I am so far behind on watching this. But, depending on what you're looking for, this is decent. And season 2, as I said, is an improvement over season 1. I do mean that. Despite my criticisms and the problems that I have with it, I think my problems are more personal preference than bad writing, except for in a few parts where I think I pointed out bad writing. But yeah, I think it's more personal preference for me. I wanted something that's a bit heavier than they're willing to give us so far. But if you're looking for something a bit lighter fare, that's a bit more adult oriented, not X-rated adult oriented, but gotta be careful how you phrase some of those things. I would recommend this, despite my personal misgivings and dislikes. I do recommend this for someone who's a fan of animation and D&D. It is good. I think the people are working hard on it, and it is decently done. Just, a bit too light for my tastes. Take that as you will. As always, thanks for watching. As always, this is crap, although I think I did a better job this time than other times. And until next time, good hunting.